Hi everyone, I'm Amy and I'm at home, and today I'm making fresh strawberry crumb cake. It's a little bit of a weekend baking project, but don't worry, you're with me. I'm going to walk you through every step of the way. First thing we're going to do is make some fresh strawberry jam. So Katie, come on over here and I'm going to show you what to do to make it. It is so easy. All it is a pound of strawberries, and strawberries are really beautiful right now. They're in season. I had no trouble finding them at the store, and I have 3/4 of a cup of sugar. I'm going to stir this around, and I have my heat on medium, and this is, believe it or not, only going to take about 10 minutes to turn into jam. I know it seems kind of crazy because look at it now, but I'm going to actually put this, I'm going to turn this burner off and put it on this burner, and I'm going to have this cooking through this whole video, and I'll show you what it looks like towards the end. But what I want to show you is a batch that I made earlier, and this is what it looks like after 10 minutes. So this is basically strawberry jam. I'm kind of mushing up the strawberries because I want it to be a little homogeneous, and this is my avocado masher. You can use a potato masher or a wooden spoon or anything that you have, but it is nice to kind of mash it all up. And it really looks like jam.
Is this like when people use bananas when they're about to go bad for banana bread? Could you use strawberries that are too ripe also to make jam?
You definitely could. I mean, the juicier the strawberry, the better. You definitely don't want to use underripe strawberries. What I love about strawberries and making jam is they have a lot of pectin in them. And what pectin does is it kind of thickens up really nicely when you're making jam. It interacts with the sugar and it just makes for a really nice jam. If you're using another fruit to make jam, like marmalade, like oranges or something like that, sometimes you have to add pectin, but you don't have to do that for strawberries. So this is all set, and this is starting to kind of bubble away. I'm going to stir this before we get going on our cake. And I have my oven preheated at 350 degrees. So what's happening here is the strawberries, the heat is bringing out all of the water in the strawberries, which is going to mix in with the sugar and melt the sugar and combine everything. You don't want your heat too high or it's going to scorch the bottom. So I'm going to try and remember to stir this now and again while I'm making my cake. I'm actually going to turn my heat...
From that to that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to turn my heat down to medium low. So let's go over here and make the cake. First things first is a little butter. I'm putting a stick of butter that's softened.
Yeah, it's soft.
In my mixer, and I'm going to save this, and I'll show you why I'm saving that in a little bit. To the butter, I'm adding my sugar, and I'm going to turn the mixer on. I have the mixer on medium high. I'm turning it up to high because I'm really looking at it, and I want to get this mixed pretty quickly because it's a little boring to show you and I don't want to run out of time. But what I'm looking for is the butter and the sugar to mix together and to kind of look like wet sand. That's the indication that it's time to add the eggs. So this is happening. This is definitely coming together. I think I'm just about ready. You want to show that? This is sort of the wet sand look that I'm going for. And I'm going to add an egg. A lot of people like to add eggs in a bowl first in case the egg has something wrong with it, but I don't do that. I mean, I just...
What if it's a bad egg?
I'm just taking up a risk here. I want to just, I don't want to wash another bowl. So. And it's fine so far. I'm adding almond extract. I love almond extract. You can certainly use vanilla, but I think the flavor of the almond goes so nicely in this cake, and it works great with the strawberries. So here's the batter so far. It looks beautiful. I'm going to turn it off when I add my flour.
Oh, it smells so good with the almond.
The almonds. I'm going to add half of my flour. And you really need to turn off your mixer when you're adding your dry ingredients. I added all of my baking powder and a pinch of salt. If you don't turn off the mixer, the flour is going to poop up in your face. And you don't want to do that for two reasons. One, obviously, you're going to be covered in flour. I have a little flour on me just from adding it this way. But you also are going to lose some flour when it poops up in your face, and it's going to throw off the baking. So I have a cup of milk, and I'm going to add half of that.
What kind of milk is that?
It's whole milk. And you don't have to use whole milk. You really want to use some sort of a liquid. So if you only have skim milk, it's okay. I actually think heavy cream would be really good too, or half and half. I mean, it's a little more fat.
What if you're dairy-free and you're using vegan butter?
You can use vegan butter and almond milk. It'll throw off the flavor a little bit, but it's not going to ruin anything. So I have the rest of the flour to add.
Oh my gosh, I wish everyone could smell this.
Now there's that. And it's amazing how great a stand mixer is. I mean, this really pulls the batter together so quickly. Look at that. I'm going to add the rest of the milk and then, oops, did you see that?
Yeah.
It went flying out. All right, it's fine. No harm, no foul.
This looks like an old stand mixer. Is it time for a new one?
Yeah,
There's this old reliable.
It's old reliable. I'm using it until it's like done. So I don't want my fingers involved in this. I'm gonna wash. My hands are clean, but I do want to use this.
Your trusty pink rubber spatula.
Yes. And I'm cleaning this off just so we get all of the batter in here.
We're about halfway.
Put that aside and take my mixer, my bowl off. So here's where it gets a little interesting. So I still have my butter wrapper, and I'm going to use my wrapper to butter my pan. This is a 9-inch square baking pan. All right, so that's done. And I'm going to put about 2/3 of my batter into the pan. Spread that around. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, we're only cooking for people that we love. I always say, you know, do it with love, and that's all you need to do it with. Okay, now it's time to put the strawberries on top. And I am just pouring that on.
What should we do with the other jam? Use it for like breakfast tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll make jam. We'll make actual jam. This jam that I like to use is a little bit looser for this particular recipe because I like how it will soak into the batter as it cooks. So this jam that I'm making for breakfast tomorrow, I'm probably gonna let it cook for 15 minutes instead of 10 minutes to evaporate some more of the water. And something that a lot of people do when they make jam is to add a little lemon juice at the end, and it sort of balances out the sweetness. I think I'm gonna do that too. And I'll put all of this in my recipe. So here's the crumb cake so far, and here's another really fun thing that I do, and I love to do this. With the rest of the batter, I'm going to fold in some almonds. And that goes really nicely with the almond extract that I added. And I just have some oats. And I'm gonna hand mix this just to combine. I could put it back on the mixer, but it's really no big deal just to do this.
Do you have to use almonds?
You can use any nut that you want, actually. You do not have to use almonds. You don't have to use a nut. In fact, you could definitely not. You could not use any nuts or any oats and just use this batter on top.
Let's see what it looks like. Yeah.
But the thing that is nice about adding this, first of all, it changes the texture on the top. And this is where you get that crumb cake texture, like that classic crumb cake where it's a little crunchy and just different from the rest of the cake. You'll notice I'm using a small cookie scoop to get this dough on top. it's just an easy way to do it. I could use 2 spoons. I could use my clean hands. Any old way to get it on top. But what I find is this is a really good way to kind of make it even, and it's fast. Kind of a hack. A cake hack.
Could you use the same recipe with like blueberries or raspberries?
Yes, that's a great question. You could use this recipe with almost any fruit that you have on hand. I was testing this recipe for a while, and I was testing it with raspberries. I really thought raspberries were the way to go. And I found that raspberries are really expensive, and I just didn't want to use such an expensive fruit that wasn't going to be, you know, really eating as much as cooking. And strawberries are so in season right now that I thought this was a better option. So Katie, come over here. I'm gonna pop this in the oven, and this is gonna cook for about 45 minutes. So I'll set my timer. Don't let me forget, Kate, setting the timer. But I want to show you this really quickly. This is what the jam is looking like, and you can see it's amazing. It's like so liquidy, and it's funny because 5 minutes ago you would never think it would look like this. 5 minutes from now it's going to start to look like jam. So that's a really cool thing. Even if you don't make the cake, you can make the jam. So I made a cake, and Anthony, don't make fun of me for making a swap. But I want to show you what this looks like, because it's really beautiful. You can see how I put the topping on it, sort of all bakes together. Of course, you want to add a little confectioner's sugar to sort of tie it all in. And this is a thing that you put, what is it called?
Tea
a thing
leaves?
that you put tea in, but what's it called, like a tea ball?
I don't know. You put loose tea leaves in it.
Yeah, you put loose tea leaves in it and you make tea. But I really love it for dusting powdered sugar because it's very even. And let's cut a piece. This is something that I love also. This is a bench scraper, and it's really great for cutting brownies and cake. Just makes it really simple. And by the way, when you make this, you want this to cool completely before you cut into it, or it's gonna fall apart. So it's really important to do that. All right, cut it this way. So I like really big pieces, and this recipe makes 9 huge pieces. You can cut it into smaller ones easily and make 12. I love how it's so crumbly. All right, the moment of truth. I don't know if I can get this out. I'm gonna try. Can I do it? Yeah, I'm doing it.
There we go.
First piece is always the hardest, but that's what it looks like.
Beautiful. Should we try it?
Yeah. All right. Oh, this is great.
All right, let's see if I can be a cameraman to
Can we
Annie
do
at
it?
the same time.
You can do it, Katie. All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Amazing.
That was so good. I love the almond and the strawberry combination. Why don't we have some ice cream on this, Katie? Thank you so much for joining me. This was really fun. I hope you learned something. Please DM me with any questions, and I will see you soon. Bye.